let's get started with our lesson. All right, so this is our last lesson on integers, isn't it? Because next week we're going to be talking about number patterns. And the last thing that we need to discuss is dividing integers. So we've done adding, subtracting, multiplying, and now we're going to talk about dividing. The last time that we were together, we spoke about the rules for multiplication. And the cool thing is that the rules for multiplication and the rules for division are exactly the same. Okay, so just to start off, if we have a look at what's in the middle of the screen at the moment, division is the inverse operation of multiplication. And that means that the rules are exactly the same. All right, so what we do for multiplying is what we do for dividing. Okay, so the rules are the same. So the rules for dividing integers are the same as those for multiplication. So what does that mean for us? It means that when we multiply a positive number with another positive number, we get a positive outcome. So therefore, if we divide a positive number with another positive number, we still get a positive outcome. If we have a negative number and we multiply it by another negative number, we get a positive outcome, don't we? So that means that when we take a positive number and divide it by a negative one, we have to get a negative answer. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Hope so. All right, let's carry on. Now, if we have a negative number and we multiply that by a positive, we get a negative value. So if we take a negative value and divide it by a positive, we're going to end up with a negative number. All right, and then the last one, if we have a positive number and we multiply that by a negative, we get a negative answer. So if we start with that same negative and divide it by a negative, we're going to end up with a positive answer. All right, so that's where it comes from. So it's easy to remember because it's exactly the same as multiplying. So what you might see at school is you might see them setting this out just a little bit differently. I think in primary school, they still use the division symbol, but certainly by the time you get to grade 8, we don't use the divide symbol anymore. So if we want to say something like 12 divided by -4, we wouldn't necessarily set it out that way at high school. What we would do is we would write it like this. We would write it as 12 divided by -4. Okay, so very important for us. When we write one number over another, that means divide. Okay, so it is a symbol for divide as well. Okay, so rule number 1, just going through that one more time. When you're dividing numbers with the same signs, the answer is positive. When you're dividing numbers with different signs, the answer is negative. Okay, so super easy to remember. So when dividing numbers with the same sign, the answer is positive. So positive divided by positive gives us positive. Negative divided by negative gives us positive. Or when we are dividing numbers that have different signs. So for example, a positive divided by a negative, we get a negative, or a negative divided by a positive, we get a negative answer. Okay, so now before we do the examples, I see there's a couple of people who put their hands up. So let me just have a look here. Tertia, what was your question, Tertia?
Ma'am, I was asking where it said calculate the following.
Yes.
+2 over +4. Does it just the over sign mean divide? Like positive, does it mean for example +2 divided by +4?
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Okay, so it would be the same as you writing +2 divided by +4, just like that. Okay. All right, and your answer would be a +1 over 2. All right. Okay. All right, and then the other person that had their hand up was Tenji. Tenji, what was your question?
Oh no, ma'am. I was gonna ask for the first example here that says +15 divided by 5. I was going to ask, how did you get +3? But now I understand.
Does that make sense to you? Okay, so it comes from what we were talking about up here. All right, so in other words, if we multiply +3 with +5, we get +15. So if we take +15 and we divide it by +5, we must get +3 as an answer. Okay, because multiplying is the inverse operation of dividing, and dividing is the inverse operation of multiplying. Okay, does that make sense, Chenji?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you.
you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So just some examples, more examples of what it is that we have been talking about. So in question A, we are dividing a positive number with another positive number. So I'm going to ask Adriana, what would your answer be? So I want to know the sign and I want to know the value. Adriana, if you're feeling shy and you don't want to talk, you don't have to. You can pop your answer in the chat. Adriana? I think Adriana is a bit shy. Okay, so I tell you what, Adriana, if you're feeling a little bit shy, that's okay. Tyler, what would you say the answer is? Tyler, I see you've got your hand up. Can you unmute, Tyler? Okay, Anati, what would you say?
The answer is +5.
It certainly is. Okay, +5. Good, Anati. Boucher, do you want to do the next one for us, please? Do B.
Yes, ma'am. The answer is -2.
-2. Excellent, Boucher. You always have something wonderful to say. Thank you so much. Motabang, do you want to do number C for us? No, you don't want to. Okay, that's fine. Anybody feeling brave to do question C? Is there anybody who wants to put their hand up? Okay, Omfe, go for it.
Ma'am, I think the answer is 4.
Okay, you're right, Omfe, but there's a problem with your sign, okay? Because here 28 means +28. So when we divide, a positive number with a -1, we have to get a negative outcome.
So it's -4?
It's -4, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well done. All right, let's see who else has got a hand up. Tabani, you've got a hand up. Do you want to do question D, Tabani? Tyler, your mic's not working. Okay, all right, that's fine. So Tabani, in the chat, Tabani says +3. Ellie, what were you going to say as your answer to D? What was your answer going to be?
Ma'am, I'm not sure if it's gonna be -60.
-60. Why did you say -60, Ellie? Where does -60 come from?
I was using my calculator, ma'am.
Oh, okay, but
it's not the scientific.
Okay, but the thing is that this is a divide sign, right? So what are you putting on your calculator? Are you pressing -45 divided by -15? Okay, because that's what it means. So a lot of people in the chat, you've put the correct answer. No, you are right. Okay, it's going to be positive. Sorry, it's going to be +3. Okay, because when you take negative 15 and you multiply it by positive 3, you get negative 45. Okay, all right, so the answer is very definitely positive 3. Everybody happy with that? All right, so now, ooh, look at those. Okay, there's some difficult questions. Well, mind you, they're actually not that difficult. I shouldn't say that. That's not fair. Okay, so there are some questions here. We are going to, Kat and I are going to keep quiet for a bit, and we are going to let you guys work through these. Okay, the last row are extension type questions. Okay, so there's some nice difficult questions here for everybody. So we're going to see how much you can do in 5 minutes. And if you don't finish, it's not the end of the world. Okay, everybody's different. As long as you do the best you can, it's all good. Okay, so there's some nice challenge questions in this lesson today. Okay, so ready, steady, off you go. And you've got a question, then you can ask either Kat or I. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. This isn't a question, more like helping the person who said, I think she said negative 60. I think what she punched into her calculator was negative 45 minus 15, and that got negative 60.
Yeah, she probably did do that. She went negative 45 minus 15 instead of negative 45 divided by negative 15. Yeah, you're right, Nima. That's exactly what would have happened.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, Tertia.
Wait, before I ask a question, is Cecil going to go first, or it's just it went a bit quiet?
It's fine. It's just I want you to do as many of the questions as you can in 5 minutes.
Okay,
so
ma'am, ask. If you divide 0 with any number besides itself, like 0, will it still come out as 0, or
are you dividing by 0, or is 0 the number that's being divided?
0 is being the number that's being divided. Okay,
so if 0 is the number that's being divided, then the answer is always going to be 0. Okay.
And if you're dividing by 0?
Oh, now that's a whole different thing, Tertia. And I tell you what, do these questions and we'll mark them, and then I'll talk to you about dividing by 0 and why it can't happen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's a very good question, actually.
Yes, right.
Okay, so I see there are some hands up. Are the hands up because you finished, or the hands up because you want to ask a question? Devin?
Ma'am, I don't know how to do this, ma'am.
Which?
The questions, ma'am.
Okay, so you're either dividing a positive with another positive or a negative with another negative. So you first have to consider the sign, and then you're going to divide the numbers. So in number 1, we have positive 16 divided by positive 8. So a positive divided by another positive is a?
Negative.
No, it's not a negative. No. All right, when we divide numbers that have the same sign, remember, our answer is going to be positive. So a positive divided by a positive is a positive. Okay. So a positive divided by a positive is a positive, and 16 divided by 8 is 2.
2.
Yes, perfect. Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, and in number 2, you've now got a negative divided by a negative, Devin. So now again, the signs are the same. It's a negative divided by a negative, so the answer will be
negative 2.
Positive
Oh.
2, darling. Okay, negative divided by negative is a positive. Okay, remember our rule in green here. When dividing numbers with the same signs, the quotient, the answer is positive. Okay.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so there are a few people that say that they are busy. I'm just replying to somebody in the chat. Just give me a second. Okay, so Teal is done, Boucle is done,
Ma'am.
Nasizazi is done. Just give me 1 second.
Ma'am.
Yes, I'll be with you right now, Panolo. Just give me 1 second.
Oh.
Just 1 second. Okay, Panolo, what's up?
Ma'am, please show me how to calculate them, ma'am, because I'm late. So I don't know how to calculate them.
Okay, all right. So what we were doing is we were talking about the rules. Okay, so the rules for dividing are exactly the same as the rules for multiplying. So if you have a negative number divided by another negative number, your outcome is positive. Just like if you have a positive number and you divide that by another positive number, your outcome is going to be positive. But if the signs are different, then your outcome is going to have a different sign. So in other words, if you have, is going to have a negative sign. So if you've got negative 15 divided by positive 3, the answer will be negative 5. And if you had positive 15 divided by negative 3, your answer would be negative 5. Okay, and that's because here, a positive times a negative is a negative. Okay, because of the reverse operation. Or in this case, sorry, a negative divided by a negative is a positive because a negative multiplied by a negative is a positive. In this case over here, if you take a positive number and you divide it by another positive number, you're going to get a positive outcome. And in the ones at the bottom where the signs are different, a negative divided by a positive is a negative, because a negative times a positive is a negative. All right, and then here as well, if you take a positive number and you divide it by a negative, you're going to get a negative answer because a negative times a negative is a positive. All right. So that's where it comes from. So that's what we were doing in these questions. All right, so we've had about 7 or so minutes. I've already written down the answers to number 1 and number 2. So here, this was equal to positive 2. That was also equal to positive 2. So now I'm going to go and look at who's got their hand up and we'll take it from there. Okay, Boucle, you're first. Do number 3, please, Boucle.
Ma'am, for the answer for number 3 is negative 2.
It is. Okay, so negative 16 divided by positive 8 gives us negative 2. Good, Boucle, well done. Anati, do question 4 for us, please.
Question 4 is negative 2.
It's also negative 2 because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Good. Tatum, do question 5 for us, please, Tatum.
Positive 50 divided by positive 25
Is?
will give us a positive 2 mark.
Oh, that's lovely, Tatum. Well done. Good job. Okay, Intekelo, you're next. Do 6 for us, Intekelo.
Is -1.
-1. 50 divided by -25. You sure it's -1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is Tatum, that's right. So Intekelo, 25 times 2 gives us 50. Okay, so 25 times 1 gives us 25. So Tatum, what Tatum was saying here was correct. Okay, this is supposed to be -2. -2 times -25 gives us +50. Tertia, do 7, please.
Sorry, ma'am. -50 divided by -25. My answer was 1.
Why 1, Tertia?
I think because
Okay, so the only time we can get 1 when we divide is if we divide something by itself. Okay, and because 25 is not the same as 50, we can't get 1 as an answer. Okay, so here the answer was supposed to have been +2. Yes, yes, Boipelo.
sorry, ma'am.
That's okay. All right, because +2 times -25 is -50. All right, Maria, do 8, please, Maria.
Ma'am, -50 divided by 25 is -2.
Lovely, Maria. Well done. That's perfect. Good job. Matlatse, do 9 for us, please. Matlatse. Maybe Matlatse is putting it in the chat. Matlatse, what did you get? Yes, Nima. Yes, Tabani. Okay, Matlatse is not answering, but the number at the top is -2. Sorry, Matlatse, say it again.
-1.
Lovely. Good job, Matlatse. That's correct. Okay, so -237 divided by +207. 237 is -1. Good job. Oh, okay, next one. Tahila, do number 10, please, Tahila.
Ma'am, will it be -9?
-9. Good, Tahila. That is lovely. Well done. Very good. Okay, question 11, Tabani. What do you think, Tabani? Tabani says +20 in the chat. 100% Tabani, that's really good. +20 times -60 is -1,200. Okay, Devin, question 12 is yours, Devin. What did you get for question 12?
It equals -1, ma'am.
It does indeed, Devin. Well done. That's very good. All right, Favor, you're up next. 13 is yours, Favor. What do you get as an answer?
Ma'am, I think 13 is +56.
Okay, but at the top we have 0. Okay, so
Yes,
we've got 0 and we are dividing it by 56. Okay, so when we divide 0 by another number other than 0, the answer is always going to be 0. So if you can imagine, not this is a very nice idea, but imagine if you got 0 out of 56 for a test. Okay, then you would say that you got 0 for the test, isn't it? If you got nothing right, out of 56 questions, then you would have 0 for the test. You wouldn't have 56 out of 56 for the test, hey?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the way that you've got to look at it. All right, so 0 divided by 56 is 0. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Masiza, good. Masizazi, question 14. What do you think the answer is? Masizazi?
Oh, sorry, ma'am. I was muted. It is 0.
It's also 0. Okay, so we can see that when we divide 0 by a positive number or a negative number, it really doesn't matter. 0 doesn't have a sign. 0 is neutral, like Switzerland. Okay, so 0 doesn't have a sign, and we wouldn't write a sign there in our answer. Okay, question number 15, Rolivua, it's yours. What are you going to say for that one, Rolivua, number 15?
0.
0. Okay, I quite agree with you. Okay, and that's because 15 times 0 is 0, and 15 times 1 is 15, and 0 divided by 15 is 0. Good, Rolivua. Olutando, you have the honor of answering the very last question. What did you get, Olutando?
Ma'am, I got positive 30.
Positive 30. Okay. I want to ask, Motabang, what did you get for your answer for the last one?
Ma'am, I thought that I think I got 0.
You got 0 as an answer. Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know. I just accidentally wrote 2, but I thought of it, so I think it's 0.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about that now. What about you, Bushe? What did you get for question 16?
Ma'am, I also got 0.
Okay. All right. So Bushe is also saying the answer is 0. I'm going to take one more person. Inotando. What did you get, Inotando?
I got 0.
You got 0 as well. Okay. Unfortunately, nobody has yet said the correct answer. All right. So what's happening here, grade 7s, is this. We've got 15 times 2 in the numerator. So that means we have 30 in the numerator. And in the denominator, we've got 15 times 0. And we know that in our number system, when we times a number, an integer, by 0, we always get 0 as an answer.
Ma'am,
Yes, I don't know who iPhone is.
that would be me, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, what did you want to say?
I wanted to say 30.
You wanted to say the answer is 30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but the answer is not 30. Okay, so still nobody has said the right answer. Okay, so this is what I want to explain to you. Okay, so now you guys are going to have to listen carefully here. Right, maybe this is not something that you've done in grade 7, but I'm going to explain it to you. Okay, so listen to this and then we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so if I do something like this, if I say 2 times 3 is 6, okay, that means that I can take 6 and I can divide it by 3, and I'm expecting 2 is the answer, okay? Or I could take 6 and I could divide it by 2, and I would get 3 is the answer. That's inverse operation, okay? So now, if I take 6 and I times it by 0, what do I get as an answer? I get 0. Okay, so whenever I multiply by 0, I get 0 as an answer. So now if I take 0 and I divide it by sorry, I beg your pardon, I wrote the number here, it's not 0. So if I take I've muddled this up now. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so it would mean that 0 divided by 0 is 6. Or it means that 0 divided by 6. Kat, am I right here?
0 divided by 0
Is not 6.
is not 6.
Why am I feel like I'm being really stupid here. So if we take a number and we multiply it by 0, we always get 0 as an answer. So if we take that 0 that is our answer and we divide it by either one of the two numbers, 0 divided by 6 would give me 0. Right, so because 0 divided by 0 is not 6, what am I doing here? I feel like I've muddled this up and it's so simple. Because it doesn't work in reverse. That's the whole idea behind this. If you take a number and you multiply it by 0, you always get 0 as your answer, don't you? Okay. So if you've got 2 and you times it by 3, you get 6, which means that you can take 6 and divide it by 3 and get 2. So you can take your answer, which is 0, and then you can divide it by 6. I feel so stupid right now. So if I take 3 and I times it by 0, I'm always going to get 0 as an answer. So if I take 0, which is my answer, and I divide it by 3, I'm being really thick here. Yeah, it's not infinity, it's undefined. So your answer is going to be undefined, but it's undefined because division by 0 cannot take place. And it's because when you, so in other words, if you multiply a number by 0, you can't ever get anything other than 0 out. So if you take your solution and I divide 0 by 0, I can't get 3, can I? That cannot happen. All right. And if I have 0 and I divide that by 3, which is the other factor, I'm going to end up with 0 as my answer. But 0 divided by 0 is not 3. No, I'm not explaining what it is that I wanted to say here. Let me just think about what it was. Sorry, I've got a con and hit a complete and utter brick wall. So you can't. So if you've got, hang on a second, let's start it this way. So if I've got 6 divided by 0, all right, and I say that the answer is a certain value, that means that that value multiplied by 0 is 6. That's what I want to say. Now that cannot happen because when I take any number, doesn't matter what it is, and I times it by 0, I can never ever get an answer other than 0. Okay, so sorry, that's what I was trying to say. And that's why division by 0 cannot happen. Okay, so there is no division by 0. Okay, because when we multiply by 0, we cannot get a number that isn't 0. Okay, so division by 0 leads to something that is undefined. In maths, we give it a name and we say that it is undefined. Okay, so division by 0 cannot take place. So if we have a look at this question over here in number 16, we have division by 0, and we need to say that therefore our answer would be undefined. Okay, sorry, that's what I was trying to say. All right, who's confused? Do you want me to explain it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
All right.
Ma'am, I
Okay,
have a
so,
quick question.
Yes.
okay, Boutle,
Ma'am.
ask your quick question. Just hang on a second, Boutle first.
Wait, so ma'am, what you are saying is that so basically in the for question number 16, if we got 0, we are still wrong because
Correct.
are we still we are still correct.
So you are no. So if you've got 30 as an answer, you're wrong. If you got 0 as an answer, you're wrong. The answer is undefined.
Ma'am, this is really confusing.
Okay,
So
the answer is undefined.
So ma'am, so basically the answer is not complete.
Correctly. So in other words, we don't have an answer.
Okay.
Okay, we
That's
don't have an
interesting.
answer. Okay, we don't have an answer. All right. And it's because of this. All right. So the only way I can describe it to you is the symbols that I've used on the board. All right. So in other words, if you take a number, any number, doesn't matter what the number is, 3, and you divide it by 0, we are saying you get a specific answer. Now, let's say we don't know what that answer is. Okay, it's a number. All right, so now let's take that number and let's times it by 0. Are we going to get 3 as an answer? Can
No.
you take any number and times it by 0 and get an answer that isn't 0? No, you can't. You can't. All right, so this is wrong because we cannot times something by 0 and get an answer that isn't 0. Our answer must be 0. And that is why division by 0 cannot happen. Okay, division by 0 cannot happen because when we take a value and we times it by 0, we have to get 0. We can't get a number that isn't 0. Okay, so that's where it comes from. Okay.
I think I get it now.
Okay.
So ma'am, so basically for question 16, no one knows the answer. So
Correct.
that's why we say undefined.
So it's undefined, absolutely, because it's not possible for us to give an answer. Okay, so that's why we say that it is undefined. All right, so what we can do is we can take 0 and we can divide 0 by a number. So I can say 0 divided by 6 and I can get 0. That's like me getting 0 out of 6 for a spelling test. Okay, it means I got nothing right. But what I can't do is take a number and divide that by 0. Okay, so when I take a number that isn't 0 and I divide by 0, my answer is undefined. Okay.
Yes.
So, yes.
That
All right, so
answers
now
my question.
that answers your question. Okay, so sorry, I think it was just me me just being silly about how I set it out. But it's not actually supposed to be a really difficult thing to understand. Okay, so now what I wanted us to do was focus on some challenge questions again, right? So these have got multiplying, some of them have got a little bit of adding and subtracting before you do them. So it's just going to be a little bit of a challenge for you, right? Let's just move that down. Jethro, go and feed him. Sorry, my cat is busy crying and my son's ignoring him. Okay, so let me do one as an example with you. And Let's see. Let's try question number 4 as an example. All right. And then you guys can try the others. All right. So we've got 10 times -6 over -4 times -5. So we're going to multiply the numerator with the numerator. So a positive number times a -1 is a negative. And at the bottom, a negative times a negative is a positive. And now when we divide a negative number by a positive one, we're going to end up with a negative answer. And 60 divided by 20 is going to leave us with 3. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now you guys can try.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you guys can try some of the other questions. All right. So you can try from number 1 through to number 9. Okay. And Kat and I are going to be quiet.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I have a question for number 3.
Mm-hmm.
For number 3, would I have to say 7 minus 4?
No, but brackets don't mean minus. What do brackets mean?
No, it's because
Brackets
is it 7?
Brackets mean
Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
They don't mean
Multiplication.
nothing. Brackets mean multiplication. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so 7 times -4 is -28. And if you take -28 and you divide it by +14, you've got a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 28 divided by 14 is 2. You guys know that brackets means times, don't you?
We do.
You do, yes. You must do by now. You're in grade 7.
Ma'am,
Yes, Bootle.
ma'am, I can't see question number 3 properly.
There you go. I've made it a little bit bigger. Is that better now?
Ma'am, can you just write down what question number 3 says?
Okay. So I've written it here in pink, Bootle.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so it's in brackets 7, and then in other brackets -4 over 14. Okay, that's what the question says.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
So just 1 second. Tyler, if there are brackets over an integer, it still means times. So if you look at question number 2 at the top in the numerator, those brackets also mean times. It's just that they put the times symbol in there, and in number 3 they haven't. Okay, but it means exactly the same thing. Okay, Anati, what was your question?
I'm confused on number 7.
All right. So in number 7, okay, we're doing this. Okay, so you've learned about BODMAS at school, right?
Yes.
And your teachers would have told you that when a sum has only multiplying and dividing in it, what do we do?
Division first.
No.
I mean multiplication first.
Yeah, we work from left to right.
That's right.
Okay, we work from left to right. Okay, so what we're going to do in question number 7 is we're going to say 4 times -18 over 2 divided by 12. So that means 4 times a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 18 divided by 2 is 9 divided by 12. Now we've got, working from left to right, a positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 9 is 36. So 36 is being divided by positive 12. So a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 36 divided by 12 is 3. Okay, so just like that.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so guys,
ma'am,
yes, Tahila.
ma'am, I'm a bit lost, but just to confirm I'm on the right track, can I say the answer for number 1?
Sure. What do you think the answer for
Ma'am,
number 1 is?
ma'am, is it -2?
Unfortunately not. What did you get in the numerator? So in other words, what is -2 times 6?
-2 times 6
is?
Ma'am, 12.
Not positive 12 or negative 12?
Oh, -2, -12.
Aha. And now you're going to take -12 and you're going to divide it by positive 4. So a negative divided by a positive is a?
Oh, it's -3.
Exactly. There we go. Perfect. You did it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, well done. 100%.
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes or
can
not?
you divide a negative number?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So like which question, Anati?
For number 5.
Okay. So how would you do the numerator in number 5, Anati?
-13 minus 14.
Mm-hmm. And what would that give you?
It would give me -27.
Good. Well done, Anati. That's very nice. And then at the bottom, -10 plus 1, what would that give you?
-1. I mean 9.
-9. Wonderful. Okay, so your integers are really lovely. And now -27 divided by -9 is?
-3.
Positive?
I mean +3.
Lovely. That's lovely, Anati. Well done. Okay, you got the right idea. That's brilliant. Good job.
Ma'am, can you please go up?
Okay, Titelo, what's your question? Titelo?
Ma'am,
Yes.
my question is about number 8.
Okay. What do you think question 8 means, Titelo?
Ma'am, I don't understand because there's the bracket first, like there's the open bracket, then -3 times. Oh, ma'am, there's no time. Sorry, I don't have my glasses.
There is, Titelo, it is times because brackets mean multiply. So -3 in brackets, with 2 in brackets, with -16 over -8, they're telling you to multiply 3 numbers together.
Yes,
that's what it means. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So work from left to right. Okay? It means -3 times +2 times a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 16 divided by 8 is 2.
Okay.
Okay, so now the 3
Yes, ma'am.
numbers that you are multiplying together, there's 3 numbers that you're timesing together, okay? The first one is -3, the second one is +2, and the answer to this, -16 divided by -8 is also +2. So now
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can do a couple of things. You can first work out the sign if you like. You can say a negative times a positive is a negative, and a negative times a positive is a negative. And then you can say 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 2 is 12. Or if you wanted to, you could say -3 times +2 is -6. And you've still got to multiply that by +2. So negative times a positive is a negative. And 6 times 2 is 12. It would be exactly the same thing. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank you,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so Tertia, you said you don't understand number 7, number 8, and number 9. Okay, so I've done number 7 over here. I've just done number 8. So let's just talk quickly about question number 9. Okay, so in question 9, we are given -59 minus -4.
Sorry, ma'am, may you please scroll just a little bit up?
I just don't know how to write because I've got, need to do that. Okay, so I've just made it a little bit smaller. Okay, so in question number 9, we've got -59 minus -4 all over -7 plus -4. So this goes back to our previous lessons, Tertia. Okay, so if we're sitting at -59 on the number line and we subtract a negative, what operation are we using? What happens when we subtract a negative number? We have to
Use a positive number.
absolutely, we have to add.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're starting at -7 on the number line and we are adding a negative number. So when we add a negative number, what are we doing? Adding or subtracting?
Adding, subtracting.
No, we are subtracting. Okay, so when we add negative numbers, we are making numbers smaller. So we are taking away 4. So now we sit on the number line. We're at -59 and we're going to go 4 places to the right. Where do we get? What number is 4 places to the right?
Oh, ma'am, this would be easy with
It'll be easier with a number line, isn't it? But we don't have a number line. Okay, so here is -59. What number is to its right? -58, and then to the right of that, -57, and to the right of that, -56. Okay, and to the right of that, -55. So if I start here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the right, I'm going to get to -55. All right, here if I start at -7 and I move 4 places to the left. Okay, so I'm starting here at -7. To the left is -8. To the left is -9. To the left is -10. To the left is -11. I start at -7, and I move 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4 places to the left. I'm going to end at -11. So a negative divided by another negative is a positive, and 55 divided by 11 is
5.
Yes.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, so this was just a little bit of a challenge for us. We've done lots and lots and lots of easy questions, but we are going to have to say goodbye now because you guys need to go and do the quiz. Okay, so we can log off.
Come
Are there any
on.
questions? The quiz is in the chat. And you guys can log on there now and go and do it. Okay.
Bye, ma'am.
All right. Bye.